Hello, I'm Derek Monroe. Come along with me as I interview some of the industry's top beauty insiders, along with a few celebs, on this episode of Behind the Scenes Beauty. Depending on how well you follow trending legal cases, you probably caught legal analysis from Sunny Hostin in her breakout start on Court TV. If not there, you probably came across a commentary of the highly publicized Trayvon Martin case on CNN. Now you can catch her 5 days a week talking to political powerhouses on The View. This Emmy winner is a wife and a mother of two and has now tackled the literary arena with her novel, Summers on the Bluff, and her biography, I Am These Truths. And today we have with us Sunny Hostin.
Hi, Derek.
Hey, boo. This is long overdue, but I'm so happy we finally got to do it. So, I did read the book.
Thank you.
Yes. I think you should have changed the name.
What should the name be?
The name should have been The Balancing Act. Because what I realized is you have balanced between so many aspects in lives and things. So, first I want to talk about how something you wanted to do early in your career. In the book, you talk about how you wanted to do television. You thought about doing television, but your mom urged you to go and be in the legal profession because, of course, you know, like any parent and any minority parent, we always want to make sure our child is in a field that's going to have them have a great living and a lifestyle. And so you wanted to do television, but your mom pushed you into being a lawyer.
A more stable career.
Yeah.
Right? It's very Caribbean of her. You know, I think that that's why I always talk about now on The View and any chance I get, representation matters, right? When I was talking about broadcast journalism to my mom, first she didn't really understand what that meant. She thought, you know, I wanted to be an actress. And her other position was, there's no one out there that looks like you. And this is pre-Oprah, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, right? I'm aging myself, but it was really about no one looks like you. It's gonna be really hard. You're not gonna be able to get a shot. We've poured everything we have into you so that you could be successful, and you're gonna throw it all away on this dream that is probably not gonna happen. Do something steady. You know, Asuncion, do law, do medicine. She was pushing me. I'm not even good at math and science. And she was like, do that. And I think a lot of us, especially in the Black and brown communities, we've lived a life of dreams deferred because of that, because we don't have a lot of representation.
I love that you titled that chapter Dream Deferred, where basically what you basically wanted to do in life comes back around to merge with your other passion. Which, tell us quickly, like how, because your mom's pushing you, you had taken the LSAT, and you go and you do jury duty. Yeah,
I did. You know, it was a blessing and a curse. I was really good at law. I took the LSAT and I got like 2 points away from a perfect score. So of course my parents used that like, well, of course you should be doing this. And after I took the LSAT, I also went on jury duty. And I realized then how powerful a prosecutor is. That's the most powerful person in the courtroom. It's not the judge and it's not the defense attorney, it's the prosecutor, because that person makes decisions as to whether or not you're even being charged. And just sitting there listening to the presentations, and then it was a criminal case, it was a murder case, deciding someone's fate, I realized that not only could I do it, that I should do it, it was important to do, and that I would be good at it, that I would do it.
Like, also what I loved about the book too is, and what I think makes you an amazing host for The View, is because you have so many aspects of your life to make you relatable.
Derek, I began taking my makeup off, and then I remembered you had asked me to do this video on all the things I love about Sunny. So don't dog me out for having no makeup on, okay? What do I love about Sunny? Look, I love her truth, her honesty, her willingness to share who she is and her experiences. Sometimes I don't understand something about race. Sometimes I don't have the sensitivity I need to. And I ask her for help understanding it, and she's always very, very generous with that. I love her ability to multitask. I mean, that woman is a great daughter. She's a great wife. She's a homemaker. She's on TV. She's a lawyer. She's an activist. She's a friend. She's raising children. She's raising chickens. All I got is one husband and one dog, and I can barely make ends meet and keep my life going. So I love her for being Sunny, for being who she is.
What do I love about Sunny? How much time do you have? She's gorgeous. She's smart. She is loving. She's a great mom. She's a great wife. But most of all, she is a great, great, great friend. I feel like I can call Sunny at any hour for anything, and that is the mark of not only a true diva, but really a truly great person at her heart. Anyone who takes care of their mom and their mom lives in their house is golden with me. Love you, Sunny.
So many people see such a, like, this glamorous young lady right now before me, but a lot of people reading your book, you sort of hear about a lot of the downfalls.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing. It's like you're getting ahead, but you have these things to pull you back.
I've had more failures than successes. And I'm from the Bronx projects too.
Right.
We're sitting here, this is not what I grew up in,
Right.
I grew up poor. I know what it's like not to have enough to eat. I know what it's like to have to open up the stove to heat up the house. I know what it's like to boil hot water on top of the stove to heat up the house. I know what that's like. And I know what failure is like. You know, a lot of people don't know and didn't know until I wrote the book that I got fired from CNN.
Yeah.
My contract was not renewed.
And had to go back into the same building to work at
HLN and Core TV. In a much less prestigious position, you know, with people kind of looking down on me. And I got offered a position at The View, and it got snatched back because I was not Latina enough, you know. So I've had more failures than successes in life. And I almost didn't write the book because of that, because I didn't feel it was aspirational enough.
So, yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you. What made you decide to write the book?
Well, I think I've learned, one, that you learn more from failure than from success. And two, you know, I was talking to Justice Sotomayor, which sounds like a huge name drop, but I'm blessed to know her. And when she asked me when I was going to write my story, because she had written hers in Spanish and English, and she had written her memoir, but she'd also written children's books about her story. I told her, it's filled with so much poverty and despair and violence and, you know, failure. And she was like, but it's filled with success too.
Yeah.
And she's like, your road is the road that so many of us are gonna follow and travel. And you've built this bridge for people that are gonna walk on behind you. And you've gotta write that down.
Yeah.
And she convinced me that it was smart.
Yeah.
To write it down while it was fresh in my mind and while I was still on the journey. So I started looking through my journals, because I think it's really important for people to journal.
Right.
And I've been journaling since I was about 12. And it was really easy for me to dictate it. The book was already really written.
Got you. So you're biracial. You are Puerto Rican.
And black. And some people don't consider that biracial, but my mom is actually considered a white Hispanic because her father is a Sephardic Jew, which is a Spanish Jew,
Gotcha.
Which is why, you know, race is a social construct anyway in my mind, but she is considered white and my father is considered black. And so I've always been considered by society as a biracial person, because my parents got married in 1968 and the Loving decision came down in 1967. So they weren't able to really formally get married before they did in 68.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
That's
so I was
crazy.
born only a year after the Loving decision. And I realized in writing the book, because writing a memoir requires this self-reflection, I was like, I never saw anybody that looked like me when I was growing up. And it sounds so weird to say now, because you do kind of see people that look like me. But I was only born a year after loving.
Yeah.
So of course there weren't a lot of biracial kids walking around because it was illegal.
Yeah.
It was illegal.
Listening to your story reminded me of I had a childhood friend who was biracial, and I realized a lot of her time was looking for people to identify with. And
Yeah.
she was overjoyed when Mariah Carey stepped on the scene because
Yes, we were like, yes.
Yes, she was like, I am her and she is me.
Yeah.
And so just reading the book, and I'm really understanding a lot more about your journey. But I want to ask you, why do you think it's a thing where people feel like you have to choose one or the other? Why is that?
I've never quite understood it. You know, when I was younger and you would be filling out the census or you'd be filling out standardized tests, I write about it, you had to pick black or white. There wasn't even anything for Puerto Rican or
Right.
Latino. It was just black or white. And I was like, well, I'm black. But then they started adding white Hispanic or Hispanic but not of black descent. And it was like all this stuff. And if you pick more than one, it would spit the paper out. And it's like, so it was like spitting me out. And it was just always very difficult. And the question I got the most was, what are you? And I think it's because, if I'm being honest, I think people want to identify what you are so they can decide how to treat you.
Good point.
That's what I think. And
Oh, good point.
yeah.
Come on, making me have thought provoke. You better provoke some thought in me.
I think that's what it is. I think they want to identify
So they know
you,
how they
to
can
classify
treat you.
you, to decide how they're going to treat you.
Wow.
And I just, that always made me feel, I rejected that. I just rejected the notion, because I get to decide how you're going to treat me. I get to demand my worth. I get to demand my value. And that is not connected to what you think about me.
Did you experience a lot of that? Like, I know you sort of experienced it class-wise as from when you moved from the Bronx back to Manhattan, to Manhattan. But did you experience it sort of racially amongst your own? Like,
I did.
When you would go to your father's people and they were like, "Oh, who she thinks she is, the light skin."
It was weird, because my father's family always, I was always considered the pretty one. Oh, that's Mo's daughter, the pretty light one, because I didn't look like anybody in the family. And then I go to my mother's family and they would be like, oh, that's the negrita with the good hair. That's, that's Rosa's daughter, the dark one with the good hair. And it was mind-boggling to me, the colorism that existed on both sides of my family and in both communities. It was always like people playing like poker with me. Like, I'd show up to the Black Student Union and they would be like, what you eat for Thanksgiving?
Beans and rice.
I'd be like, and a side of collards too, and some sweet potato pie. How about that? And then, I go to the Puerto Rican, PERLDF, the Puerto Rican Legal Defense Fund, and they would be like, hablas español? It was like, there's so many Spanish people that don't speak Spanish. I happen to speak Spanish, it's my first language, but what if I didn't? Does that make me less Puerto Rican because I'm dark? Then I'm darker than Jennifer Lopez. It's like, it just never made sense why that happens in our communities, this colorism.
Do you find that there's more colorism because there's the light skin, dark skin thing in the Black community, and then there's in the Latinos,
it's much worse in the Latino community, in my opinion.
Why do you think that is?
I think there's more unity in the African American community, because as descendants of those who experience slavery, chattel slavery, and then the repercussions from it, the continued repercussions of it, we have that unique bond.
The shared experience.
It's the shared experience that continues today, right? That systemic racism that we all experience, and we have that bond. The Latino community doesn't have that in the same sense, right? There are and not to say that African Americans are monolithic, but we are united in that experience. The Latino community is varied in that you have Black Puerto Ricans, white Puerto Ricans, you have Panamanians, you have Dominicans, you have Venezuelans, Nicaraguans, Cubans, and the background is not shared in that sense. The language is shared somewhat, right? You have Spaniards, that are really European, right? They're not Caribbean or Latino, and so they don't have that shared they don't have that unity, and they also, when they come to this country, are subjected, those that are black looking, subjected to that racism and that oppression. And I think that they want to not be classified and subjected to the anti-black sentiment that is here. And if they can separate themselves from that, then they do.
As far as you can.
They run as far as they can, and that is just
And I ain't even mad.
Not all, because
Right.
my mother is a prime example
Yeah.
of someone who identifies with the fact that Puerto Ricans are have a heritage of a strong African heritage and a Spanish from Spain heritage and a native, a Taino Indian heritage. She taught me about blackness. You know, that was something that was very important to her. So I'm not saying all Latinos,
Right.
but colorism is a problem in the Latino community in a way that it is not, in my experience, is very different in the black community. I was always much more welcomed in the black community than I was in the Latino community. I was actually pitched to be on the cover of, many Latino magazines, like Latina magazine. And I was rejected for those magazines until recently.
When you start, because you were very vocal
Very.
and always spoke up for both communities. So
Always
they really
did.
had no reason to not.
But I was rejected, and I think it was because of what I look like.
Yeah. Okay, so you've done television. You did all of you were a prosecutor. You did all the legal stuff. Now you're in television. What has been one of the most funner things and one of the most cherished moments in your television career?
Television career? I'm like a political junkie and a legal junkie. One of my most cherished moments was definitely Justice Sotomayor coming on The View. I mean, a sitting Supreme Court justice. That was just mind-blowing for me. Meeting, every single presidential candidate running for office. I mean, wow, that was really something. I'm less excited, if I'm being honest, when we have movie stars come on and comedians. I mean, I think that's great, but for me, when I'm meeting people that could really have a significant effect on the lives of people that are less fortunate, I'm blown away by the access that I have now. I got a phone call, I think I told you about it, from now it's President-elect.
All right.
Joe Biden. He called me on my cell phone.
Wow.
And I was sitting in my dressing room at The View. I almost lost my mind. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
Right.
I couldn't believe it. They said, we have, at the time we have Vice President Biden on the line for you.
Right.
First, I was like, how do you get my cell phone number?
Right. Right. Here you go. I do want to talk about this real quick because I know we're running out of time. But I want to talk about definitely now Vice President-elect
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
You were part of an op-ed with some other young ladies.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel to see that because at this time that you guys wrote the op-ed, there hadn't been a pick for vice president.
No, and no one was talking about what we were asking for. I feel.
And can I just also inject right quick that y'all also came under scrutiny a little bit because
a lot.
It was like, oh, y'all are demanding that we get a black. But why was that so important to you?
I've had the good fortune of having these incredibly strong women in my life, like Alicia Garza, who's the founder of Black Lives Matter. Jamel Hill, we all know Jamel Hill, sports journalist. Latasha Brown, she's the founder of Black Voters Matter, who made the difference in Georgia, along with Stacey Abrams. Joy Ann Reid is also a dear friend. She advised us on the op-ed. Also on the op-ed was Tiffany Cross, political analyst. I hope I'm not leaving anyone out. Oh, Amanda Seals, and then Angela Rye, who's former, Congressional Black Caucus organizer, and worked with them. And she got us all together on this thread of, machetes, we call ourselves. And we're on this thread, and we talk politics primarily, but family and sisterhood. And we started talking about the fact that Black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party, and have been.
Which was proven in this election.
We have been for so long, yet we're never actually afforded representation at the highest levels of government. And when Joe Biden was pushed across the finish line in South Carolina by Black women, Angie posed the question, why can't we ask for more? He's promising a Supreme Court pick. And then, I put my legal hat on, and I said, but if he doesn't have the Senate and he doesn't win the presidency, that's a promise that's without any effect.
Gotcha.
Who cares?
Right.
And then you have, Joy and others that were saying, we need to ask for it right now. And my position to the group was, how come when Black women and Black folks in general, right, have power, we don't ask for anything in return?
Yeah.
We're just happy to be there.
Yeah.
So I said, in my view, every voting bloc that has power, evangelicals, they ask for something in return for their vote.
Yep.
They want a Supreme Court justice.
Yep.
NRA, when they had a lot of power, what did they want?
They want to make sure you protect them
wanted,
gun
you better
rights.
protect those gun rights. So now Black women have been organizing, getting out the vote, all of this stuff for so long, yet we can't ask for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I want a Black female vice president.
That's right.
That's what I want, because I want my daughter Paloma to see that that's possible. And then, Angie and Brittany Packnett Cunningham said, well, I want a Black agenda. That's what I want. And we just started with the thread. And then, of course, Angie, who's such a wonderful organizer, said, let's write it out. Mm-hmm. I hear an op-ed happening. Mm-hmm. And Amanda Seals, who's hilarious,
Yes, she is.
started, saying all jokes.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of jokes, but they were political satire.
Yeah.
And we literally all wrote our paragraphs, and it was really about 10 pages, believe it or not. And we shopped it around, and the Washington Post ate it up. Mm-hmm. And there was a video that went viral along with it, millions of views.
Vice President Biden, you need us. You owe us.
The response, I was personally attacked, as you know, thousands of times. I couldn't believe it.
Right.
How you don't get to ask, you don't get to demand from Joe Biden who he's gonna pick. Blah, 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 blah.
Right,
well, why not?
Right.
Aren't we the reason right now that Joe Biden is the president-elect?
Yeah.
Stacey Abrams,
Yep.
Latasha Brown,
Yep.
Black people.
Yeah.
So why don't we get to ask for that? And we need to harness that power, and understand that we have that power. And what's been nice, Derek, is that I've gotten since Saturday probably hundreds of messages.
Thanking you. You put yourself on the line and don't nobody.
Thanking me and saying, you right.
It instantly came to my mind when I was sitting at home and I'm watching it and I thought about that op-ed.
Thank you.
And I'm blessed to know you and know Angela, so it touched me. And I just also want to say this, I'm very excited for Black women. I'm working with you all, you and Whoopi, and it's where I realized that when they, I forgot who it was that made that statement, that the most disrespected person is the Black woman.
Is the Black woman, yeah.
As much
It's
as
true.
As beautiful as your home is, as much money, still there are people that will still feel the need to think that they
us,
can disrespect you.
And the least protected is the Black woman as well.
and definitely.
It's true.
So
I believe it was Malcolm.
The most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman.
Yes. So thank you. I'll be having brain farts.
I believe it was Malcolm.
But
and it's true.
Yeah. So I know you're on your way to one of your beauty treatments. This is behind the scenes beauty. We don't just talk.
I am. I'm getting my lashes done.
She's getting her lashes done. What I thought was funny is in the book is because Sunny was not a makeup girl or a beauty girl.
I'm still not. I and I love you. I don't like getting my hair done. I don't like getting my makeup done.
Yeah,
I don't like any of it.
She complains.
I don't.
Hurry up. How long is it going to take?
I don't like getting
y'all?
my nails done. I don't like any of it. And in fact, on any weekend day, you see me out here, the orchard's in the back, my chicken coop is over there. I don't have a lick of makeup on, and I don't comb my hair. My hair is naturally curly, so I can't do this.
Right.
It's not for me.
Okay, so
I don't like it.
Well, out of your beauty treatments, what is one of your favorites?
Out of my beauty treatments, I would say I do like getting a pedicure.
Okay. Because that sort of feels like a massage.
It feels like a massage, and I go to a place called Medical Pedicure. And it's really more like a health treatment. Okay. She is from Venezuela, and Marcella, and she really is almost like she works as a podiatrist. Mm-hmm. So she gives you a pedicure, but it's like a medical pedicure.
Gotcha.
And the place is like a doctor's office, actually. And then they also have a guy who does pressure point reflexology afterwards.
So
they don't paint your toes or anything, but your feet are just so healthy and beautiful afterwards. So that treatment I really enjoy.
And I understand.
You know me. It's not real frou-frou, but it's wonderful. It's medical. It's called a medical pedicure. I like that. And I don't love getting my lashes done, but it doesn't require me to have any makeup on on the weekends. So my lashes are always done.
Yeah, it does put a sense of beauty. If your brows and your lashes are done, you still seem pulled together to a degree.
Yes, you're always done. And I got my eyebrows microbladed a couple of years ago. I'm gonna go for a touch-up, and I like that too. Yeah. Because then my brows are always done and my lashes are always done.
Raven was happy about that because Raven don't have no eyebrow on the way, so yeah.
I have eyebrows, but like they were just they're thin because my hair is curly, so it was just like they were too wispy, and my hair is kind of reddish. Mm-hmm. So it's like just too wispy. Now I got that done. I don't have to do anything. I don't. I mean, I probably should, but I don't.
It's fine. So our final question, the way we always end out is, I always ask the guest, what is beautiful to you?
Oh.
What do you find beauty in?
In people, you mean?
Or just in general, like what, one of the people said, my last guest, I think he was like, oh my gosh, what did my last guess? Optimism.
Oh, I find beauty in truth and honesty. I think that there is no, and you can find that across everything. When you see someone who is truly themselves, mm-hmm. How beautiful is that? I find so much beauty in our elders because they sit in it. Mm-hmm. And they sit in their truth and their honesty. I mean, sometimes I remember sitting with my grandmother and she would say these things and I would be like, ooh, it would feel like you could feel it in your soul, but it was from her lived experience, it was her truth. Mm-hmm. And I find real beauty in that. I find beauty in nature because it's the truth of it all.
Can I give you a compliment? I felt that in the book. That lived experience. Like,
thank you.
Although I'm a male, you're a female, but a lot of I think what I connected with the most is when you met the young lady and she said you should be on TV, and how it was something you always felt, but it was that moment where it was switching and it was finally getting ready to happen for you.
It was going to happen for me.
And
thank you.
I remember always me personally wanting to think that there was better for my life, but you just don't know where it's going to come from because all you know is what you see, but somehow deep down inside you know it's there.
You knew.
And so I definitely resonated with. So yes.
Well, you know how special you are and special to me. So I think our truth comes out And that's the beauty. And really, you can't live a perfect day without doing something for someone who can never repay you.
Yeah.
And that is, and that's another just a universal truth. So I find beauty there.
Yeah. I also want to say this. I'm going to end with this. I love your family. I love Manny. When he's not eating my breakfast sandwich by mistake.
He's so trifling.
I love her kids, Paloma.
My son just drove up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And Gabriel, I love them both. They're great.
Thank
She
you.
does a great job. They are the
Thank
real
you.
life Huxtables.
Thank you. I adore them. They're everything to me.
Yeah. So thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned for our next episode.
All right.